All right. Hello, Woody Johnson. Hey, man, Latopia. This crazy bitches, man. They will not leave you alone. Elspeth Meyer's trying to save you. she's trying to get some guys to intervene on your behalf. That crazy bitch still thinks that you're my son. That's so crazy. She also thinks that my son's teacher that OD'd had a kid, which he didn't. The minds of these crazy bitches. Hello, JR. How are you? Hey, Johnny. Yeah, Menlatopia. He's taken the brunt of a lot of these crazy bitches. What do you call it? Hateful and resentfulness. Like this Elspeth Meyer, this 60-year-old, never had any kids, crazy feminist bitch who's been causing problems online for over 2 years. She even admitted that she made my crazy bitch list over 2 years ago. Yeah, she's been trying for 2 years to get my channel canceled. That is some crazy ass shit. She is obsessed. And she's been able to rope a whole bunch of people into her little campaign. But it seems to be backfiring on her. Yeah, Manlatopia. And you know what's funny? If my son was online, he would probably be a lot like Manlatopia in his approach to things, which I find kind of funny. That they picked out of the whole group one of the guys that I guess was yeah, your e-mother. Yeah, the e-mom. Contriver, hello. Yeah, I caught most of your stream from earlier. I was trying to listen in between clients. Right? I find it funny that they're using Manletopia as a scapegoat because they want to attack me. Like, fundamentally, this comes down to me. I'm not being narcissistic in this. Like, they've been at it for well over 2 years to try to silence me, and they can't do it because I'm a woman. And guess what? Women run the social medias. So if you have a vagina, you can't be canceled. That's why I want to speak to this. Because you know what? Mikhaila Peterson needs to knock it the fuck off and quit being stupid. And quit pretending like she doesn't have any power in this. And she needs to quit blaming the government, which it's the women in the government who are doing it. And I don't know why she won't call them out. I don't understand it. She's playing this fucking victim bullshit. Now, it's really shitty what they've been doing to her dad. I agree. But I don't think she has done enough to try to put a stop to it. Like, there's so much more that she could be doing with her platform if she would just speak the truth. So, I'm going to play this. And here, I'm going to put up my fair use banner here. By the way, Contriver, I think you uploaded this background. I like it. Hello, JR. Lawrence. Speaks with her boobs. Well, I don't know. I'm going to play this, though, because this is pretty damn important. I wish you would just speak the truth on who's actually doing the things. So,
the College of Psychologists, a bunch of people put in power by the government, basically, is threatening to take...
Yes, a bunch of women put into power by women in the government.
My dad's psychology license because he's been criticizing the government. This isn't a joke. This has been torturing my family since 2018. Seriously bullying my dad in a way that really caused everyone in my family a lot of stress. I think it's part of what contributed to him being quite ill in 2019, 2020.
Well, no fucking shit. Because Jordan Peterson gets it from all places. And by not telling the truth on who's actually behind doing the things, it lets them all get away with it. I mean, from the media to the government to, you know, all these fucking smother mothers who want to police people's speech, they're all fucking women. All of them. So, come on, Mikhaila.
The colleges are in charge of doctors, massage therapists, dentists. They've been around since about the 60s. And it turns out, which I guess isn't that surprising, they've been infiltrated by the government, and now it looks like they're being used to control particularly conservative working professionals. Think you can...
Infiltrated by the government? No, actually. It's the women that got into government that is giving the women in those fields more power. Women. Hello, Uncle Guns. How are you? She'll never speak the truth. Her whole paycheck hinges on being a tread thought. She'll never call it out. Well, you know what? If she doesn't, then that's absolutely fucking disgusting, and she is a disgrace to her family, and she is aiding in the destruction of her father. So, that's pretty fucking shameful. Pretty shameful. I mean, I feel like she's brought enough shame onto her family with her shady past and her thoughtery. She should start making up for that by being honest. Hello, Mr. Pliskin.
You can trust your doctor to talk to you about anything that the government doesn't back? Definitely not, although we probably already knew that. This is kind of how colleges work in part. So this is how bad it is. He's getting investigated because of tweets he's tweeted, personal tweets, opinions, things he said on Joe Rogan. It's such a scam too. They're requiring him to do media retraining that he pays $225 an hour for.
Media retraining. Yeah. Sounds like the opposite of the crazy bitch boot camps that we need in our society. These people are actually, what is it that they outlawed that the churches used to do? Conversion therapy. Yeah, it's almost like they've taken the prescriptions of the conversion therapy to use it to brainwash people. And now they have the government backing because of all the damn women in our government that don't belong there in the first place. They're actually forcing people to pay for this bullshit. Yeah. The opposite of what needs to be going on, though.
For an unspecified amount of time. And then at the end of that training, they decide whether or not he's learned anything and whether he can continue being a psychologist. This isn't even a process that goes to court. It's just this regulatory board of like 12 tyrannical individuals. It's crazy that what you say online can be used to get rid of your license if people don't like you politically, which doesn't sound very democratic to me. They don't.
Actually, political bullshit aside, It's what women have been doing to men for decades. Women doing it to men. So forget that your dad's a psychologist, Mikhaila. He's a man out there trying to speak the truth. So the women who don't like it, who get offended, who get their feelings hurt, are going to try to stop it. So women, Mikhaila, people who fucking look like you are doing this to your dad, and you're letting them.
Like his opinions, so they're trying to shut him down. But right now, it's in a very real way. The tweets they've identified as problematic include the tweet about Elliot Page. Dad's trying to protect kids from being sterilized. That's definitely not appropriate. The tweet about the obese woman on Sports Illustrated. Again, obesity should not be celebrated. It kills people. And then tweets criticizing Justin Trudeau and another member of the Liberal Party, threatening to take your job as a serious threat. Anybody can submit a complaint about a psychologist or a doctor for that matter. Anybody. Doesn't have to be a former client. So for Dad, it's random people on Twitter complaining about him. Out of this audience of
random women. Women. This is women complaining about him speaking about women.
20 million, he has 12 complaints. The college could throw these complaints out, but instead they're threatening him and have been for years, wasting his time, bullying him, and threatening to take his license. Maybe we'll do a podcast about it. I'm not entirely sure what to do here other than tell people about what's going on, but maybe complaining back at them is appropriate. You can go to the link. I'm going to link it below, and you can enter in a complaint about the college itself and the people running it because they're bullying and harassing my family. So I don't know where the protection there is. Where's the protection against a tyrannical organization that's set in place to protect the government? This is basically...
The organization run by women, set in place to protect women and their feelings. Hey, Paul, how are you? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here because this thought Mikhaila Peterson is trying to dodge accountability for women. She's blaming the government when it's the women in the government who are doing this bullshit to her dad. And I think she would probably rather just be on the side of the sisterhood. I don't know. I had more faith, I guess, in Mikhaila's courage and tenaciousness when it came to standing up for what's right. But it looks like she's trying to side with the sisterhood against her own dad, which is pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up. Yeah, well, yeah, that's actually something I wanted to talk to you about. That's a different subject. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around this white knight phenomenon and what in a man's mind would compel him to go after a woman in the defense of a crazy bitch. I still don't get it. I still don't get it. Right? Yeah. How is that all bad? Exactly. How is it bad?
The Communist Union at this point, picking on a professor for his opinions on Twitter against the government. It's absurd. If they end up managing to take his license, which will really be hard on my dad, you won't be able to trust your doctor, your lawyer, anybody in Canada if the government is just controlling all working professionals. God forbid you tweet out your opinion about the government. You might have your license taken away or be subject to their 1984 media retraining that you pay for. Oh my gosh. On their website, it says anyone who has a concern about a psychologist or psychological associate can file a complaint or submit a report. This includes a client, a family member, or friend of the client, an employer, an insurer, a colleague, or a general member of the public, which is definitely great for celebrities because no one's going to go after them randomly on Twitter. You can't just complain about the college. You actually have to complain about an individual. But look at here. It shows who's running this scam right on their website. According to this guy on Twitter, these are the people, you can see it right on their website, running this organization that's currently threatening my dad. Even Elon's responded to dad's tweet, which was really a tweet for help, in all honesty, because we're not sure what to do here. Obviously, he's not going to be doing their media retraining, but this is pretty scary. I thought it was a good idea to make a video to tell you what's going on. It's a serious war out there. It's crazy, and we could use some help here. He's tweeted out the Ontario.
I saw some men on that list. I guess I'm going to have to look that up. Hello, Frank. Hello, Timothy. Yeah. Well, she's a fucking feminist. That's why. She hasn't properly been deprogrammed. Hello, Billy.
Hey there.
What's happening?
I've just come along just to eat some cake and then I'll go.
Okay.
Just to give something for the feminists to read about.
Okay.
Yeah, you just turn up on a stream and eat cake and then fuck off. Wow. Tired of hearing me, so you can listen to me eat some cake. Look, there's my spoon. Nom, nom, nom. Chocolate gâteau. So, what's happening?
Mikhaila Peterson is whining about the women that are oppressing her dad, but not calling out the women. Just kind of blaming it on the government and communism when it's literally feminists who are doing it.
But they're always trying to oppress Jordan Peterson.
I know. They're trying to take his license now.
Oh.
They're trying to.
I know, like, it's still a sting or whatever, but, does he really need his license anymore? I mean, obviously, yes, but, I mean, he'll survive.
Yeah. Well, but they would. Oh, hey, Prima. They would have effectively pushed him out of a field that would actually benefit more from having him in it.
Yeah, but pushing him out doesn't exactly fix their problems. They might think this is a victory, but they're still sort of stuck with being mentally ill. It doesn't cure them.
Oh no, it doesn't.
It just means they've got to find someone else to push out. And then this is what happens with men in society in general. You keep blaming and pushing people out until in the end you're all alone.
Okay, well meanwhile, all these idiots in positions of power are, effectively destroying society and being allowed to do it.
Yeah. Is that such a bad thing?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Good cake.
Oh. I'm tired of seeing this this woman, Mikhaila Peterson, fucking whining about shit she can change.
Has she got buyer's remorse?
I don't know.
Sorry, am I interrupting?
No. But you're making other people want cake now.
Oh. Yum, 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 yum. Just before this, I had a big bowl of chili con carne as well.
Hmm.
My belly is round. It needs a little bit of a rub.
Oh, I bet Femme Sapien would be happy to do it.
The perfect housewife, eh?
Mm. Actually, I don't. No, she gives off that messaging like she is, doesn't she?
Gonna wear an apron.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, mandatory social media communication retraining. How come they can do retraining?
Hmm. If you wanted to play their game and be annoying,
Mm-hmm.
you would sort of play along and be like, okay, I'll say what you want me to say for now, but then I'll undermine you later on and just carry on afterwards. I mean, it might not
See,
work for very long. They'll just call you back in and be like, hey, we told you. You said you'd play ball, and then off you go, carrying on the way you were just before.
but they're charging $250 an hour for that individual to take that retraining.
Well, does so what in the case of Jordan Peterson, is that what he would have to pay? He has to pay to be retrained.
Yes. $250 an hour.
An hour.
An hour. Yeah.
Jesus.
For a non-disclosed set of time, pretty much
So we want
until.
So we want to take your we want to charge you and then take your license away.
Yeah.
What would happen if you just told him to fuck off?
See, that's why I'm like, why aren't these people telling them to fuck off? Because I guess they're like, okay, well,
I mean,
if you don't.
They're gonna want to take his license away anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't he just save himself and everyone the sort of palaver and just be like, fuck it. You know what? I turn in my license. You people disgrace what it means to have a license.
I don't know. That sounds like giving in, though. Giving up.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not the don't take career advice from me there. No idea with. I mean, I don't know. You'd think by now with the sort of background Jordan Peterson has,
Mm-hmm.
experience and wealth, he'd be the one running the show.
Well, but he keeps getting attacked by feminists.
You need to put them in a double bind.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the Obi-Wan, like you may strike me down, Darth, but I will. I don't know what he says. I will live on. You know, Star Wars.
I haven't seen it, Billy.
Well, Darth Vader is about to kill him, and then he's like, you know, you may kill me, but in doing so, you will at the same time increase my power or whatever. Like, I will come back as a ghost, and I don't know. Someone in the chat knows the quote. What does Obi-Wan say to Darth Vader just before he gets sliced in two? Strike me down.
Hey, Braxton. Hey, Outlaw.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Frank's got it. Right. If you strike me down, oh, where'd it go? I will become more powerful than you could ever imagine.
So how does Jordan do that?
You quite literally say the same sort of thing. You can strike my license, and I will become more powerful than you could ever imagine. You just have to make good on it and not have it so that it's like a veiled threat or an empty promise. What could happen is they strike him down and then he ends up on like the Oprah Winfrey show or something like that. It becomes all televised and everyone will want to interview from him, and then he could write a book about it and rake in even more money. And then he's like, he could just wave the FU finger at them and be like, you can't take my license away anymore because you already have. Haha.
Well, if he doesn't have a license, is he allowed to give any kind of psychology advice?
All you have to do is just say allegedly. Then he can get away with saying whatever he wants. And then he's like, you can't touch me anymore because you already took my license away, so F you. Then you could release a line of merchandise. You get your own Jordan Peterson mug, T-shirt with a finger up, middle finger.
No.
Yeah, I might not have financial advice, but I could run his PR for him.
Well, I think Mikhaila runs his PR for him, and she's doing a really shitty job playing this victim thing.
Well, she needs to be working on a line of merchandise, getting there quick. Get a line of Jordan Peterson plush dolls that you can hang from your car mirror.
I don't know, Billy. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed Mikhaila's being such a feminist.
Well, if there's any consolation, like, he's not alone. I mean, they're going to go after every recognized sort of figurehead in every industry. This is something I was going to mention at some point for a discussion. Oh, by the way, those who are interested, I finished the cake now. Sorry, no more cake. No more cake. No! Is that I don't know what we like to think, but how like MGTOW, the men, manosphere have been shunned by society, not sort of rejected, but are oppressed. We'll put it that way. They're being oppressed. We're being censored. We're being shadow banned. They don't like us. They don't like the message. They want to kind of silence us. They don't want to see our numbers growing. So there's oppression there. We are a threat.
Right.
Why? Is it because men are just being disobedient? No, I say. Nay, I say. I suggest it is because we are tethered into reality as best as possible. We are a reflection of reality. So it's not so much that we are traditionalists. We are realists. We are critical thinkers. We are pragmatic. We try to be sensible. We try to be reasonable. We try and be down to earth, based, and as such, it might come across as if we're traditional, and as we should already kind of deduce by now that with the NWO or whatever, this is an attempt to have fantasy replace reality. So ergo, MGTOW being a reflection as a facet, a token of reality, has to go. Jordan Peterson bringing the truth bombs has to go. Science has to go, and in its place is all this new age stuff, this pseudo stuff, this spirituality stuff, this warped, distorted, contrived sort of gobbledygook, and this is supposed to be the new norm. GM's just fucked off. She knows a monologue is coming, so she's like, yeah, all right, he's off. It's all that sugar in that cake. So if we're having a world of delusion taking place and reality has to be booted out of here, anything from the real world or that represents or is a reminder of the real world has to go. And so people like Jordan Peterson, Albert Einstein, maths is now racist. The English language needs to be censored and rewritten, and so it goes on and on. Anyway, that was my thesis. I'm done now.
Yeah, I had to check what the damn dogs are barking at. These little critters keep trying to fish out of my pond. Well, I feel like I'm done complaining about how disgraceful and dishonorable Mikhaila Peterson has been. I don't like the victim mentality of the feminists. She's like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's the government. It's, I
mean, it's already more than just his license that's at stake.
Yeah.
In a way, if we want to extrapolate, it is a symbol. It's a big problem, because should he not lose his license, then this means reality perseveres.
Right.
And that's going to cause massive how can we have reality when we're supposed to be ejecting it and superimposing a fantasy on top?
Right.
Can't quite work. So in a way, just on that basis alone, he has to lose his license, because all of reality must be ejected. It doesn't even really matter what kind of what kind of license it is. It's a reflection of reality, so it has to go. The fact that he's spitting truth bombs and he's dissecting and he's being he's promoting sensibility just makes it even worse. Even more reason why he must be exiled and wiped out. Because I suspect it won't be just a case of that we want to take his license and stop him his practices.
Right.
That would just be the beginning. Then it will be to undermine his history, his body of work, and discredit him completely.
Yep. Oh, because
maybe pin him up as some sort of like criminal because of what look at the damage he's caused to society.
Right. All because he was born with the wrong genitalia.
That doesn't help. But
well, if he was a woman saying the same things, it would be completely different.
Maybe not as severe, but I suspect women are going to find themselves in a tricky predicament, because those women who want to have some sensibilities, like yourself, will receive backlash, and attempts will be made to smite them out, to have your channel cancelled, for instance.
Which won't work.
Because you have, fortunately, because you have reality on your side. Now, that's the sort of saving grace for Peterson. is that theoretically reality will prevail. They like to say truth will prevail, but it's not so much the case. It's more of a case of reality, what sticks with objective fundamentals of reality. Fantasy, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Fantasy, but it's interesting. Fantasy is built upon reality. It takes things from the real world and massages it distorts it takes the principles of reality to make things magical. You can't just have fantasy on its own. An example, I'll give you a dragon. So when you think of a dragon, you think wings, it flies. Well, that already is taking elements from reality. How does it fly? Well, it needs wings. Okay, how do wings work? Well, it pushes against the atmosphere and the particles, and this is how it gets lift and elevation and goes off into the sky. If it had no principles of reality there, then a dragon could be basically anything. You could just take a blob and say that's a dragon. So when we look at things, like when you watch movies and you delve into the realm of fantasy and magic and all of this, there are elements of reality in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you take like a magician wanting to make something disappear, then you'll be looking at physics and be like, right, it's teleported. How does that work? Otherwise, there are no, because if there's a fantasy world with nothing reality behind the physics of it, then it wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't be of any particular speciality, because anything goes. There's no rules. There's no there's no breaking, because that's the other part of reality. This is why it's so special and wonderful and like magic, because it appears to be breaking the rules of reality of structure and order. If there is no structure and order, then it's not really breaking any rules or anything like that. It's not really magic anymore. So the general point I'm making is that for fantasy to exist, like in these delusional minded people, it requires reality as a backdrop. So fantasy is an overlay on top of reality. It has no originality of its own. It takes already existing ideas and modifies them.
Yeah.
So if you remove reality, if everyone is delusional, it's not going to work. You can't do it. Now, reality can exist without fantasy, but fantasy can't exist without reality. And this is why reality will always persevere, because no matter how much you twist and distort things, it is the bedrock. It is what is consistent.
But the fantasy currently has reality enslaved.
Well, this is the way delusional mind and the disorder sort of works. It tries to superimpose its fantasy on top of reality. But if there is no longer a reality, what is it superimposing on? It kind of kills itself. It's no longer the fantasy doesn't. You can't turn the fantasy into a reality, because it's not reality. To take on a microcosm, we talk about narcissism a lot. Imagine the narcissistic, deluded world in their shell, but has successfully managed to be overlaid on the rest of the world. It wouldn't work. Because the narcissist needs the outside actual reality as the support system for the fantasy to continue.
But
so it comes back to that Obi-Wan Star Wars quote: if they want to try and strike me down, instead of Darth Vader would be fantasy. So strike me down, fantasy, and I will come back stronger than than you imagine or whatever. Reality will come back stronger.
Well, in the meantime, before, reality comes back stronger.
I mean, this is why the delusionally ill people prefer finding victims who are generally from the realm of reality,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a bit of authenticity to it. Now, where there isn't any, then they're going to have to settle with other people that are equally mentally disordered,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not as convincing.
Right?
Now, this is a burden of pressure on the imaginative thinkers out there. This is their problem, really. It's not really a problem for anyone in reality, other than the realization that they're dependent on you and want to
Mm-hmm.
try and enslave you
Mm-hmm.
to make them feel better. And
Which they have done.
which is why things like MGTOW and the Manosphere, to a large extent, I don't even think realize to what extent the significance of the philosophy or the principles of the lifestyle. I mean, people, they I think that they're aware, but
Yeah.
um, but the gravitas of the situation,
Yeah.
that men walking away is killing them, or anyone for that matter. In reality turning their backs to fantasy kills the fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a man.
Well, that's why if Mikhaila Peterson would just tell the truth and quit dodging the accountability of people who fucking look like her, which are women,
It doesn't even need
it
to be
would
a type of
kill
person.
it.
Look what happens with like a boot camp, like to qualify to get into the Marines or into the police force. They can't meet the standards. So what happens? The standard has to change to make it easy
Right.
for them.
Right?
Well, translate that. They can't meet the test of reality. Like
Right.
reality is presented to them as an obstacle course. We say, we want you to complete the obstacle course. We want you to do 100 push-ups. This is the reality test. They fail. Oh no, can you make it easier? Can you lower the criteria? Well, it's no longer the reality test anymore, is it?
Mm-hmm. Shit. Uh-oh. Paul was in here earlier. Paul, if you're still listening, or Uncle Guns, if you're still listening, warn Paul that he'll probably be getting some emails and some crazy bitch attention just for coming here. I know he can handle it, but my crazy bitch baggage, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the new year and they're re-in already.
Oh yeah.
What happened
Big
to like turning over a new leaf and
okay,
some
he's still here.
games,
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. Some
right.
ambition.
Just be prepared, Paul. I know you can handle crazy bitches, but everybody that shows up keeps getting emails.
Yeah. Well, this is the other thing as well. It's like they'll say how much of a bunch of losers we all are, and how stupid and idiotic and foul and disgusting and smelly and all this sort of stuff. But yet they follow us around.
Right? Psychotically stalking. somehow we matter, but at the same time they say we don't matter, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some time off and attempt to do some writing. Oh, did you really already get one? Yeah, I do. That's Zechariah. Yeah, that's Zechariah. He's one of the crazy bitches, black white knights. He's a black identitarian that calls Cynthia G what did he call Cynthia G? An Israelite princess? An Israelite princess. Yeah. He white knights for the crazy bitches. So. But yeah, before I don't know, at some point I want to have a chat with you, Paul, if you're up for it. I need another male perspective on why these men are so susceptible to crazy bitch infection. And maybe if you have any ideas on how to train that out of them. Because actually, you're one of the hardest asses I know of that I've run across online. Like, complete no bullshit. So.
A lot of men it's been cultivated to be dreamers. You know, you're told if you work hard, you can get this. If you be nice, then you'll have that.
Right.
And men work hard in order for this so-called reward. Otherwise, what's the point of working? So the idea of thinking ahead and making gains or improvements or acquiring things or having sort of living in the promised land. So we're dreamer-like. That's emotional thinking.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're also like optimistically dreaming. So we tend to like to think of good stuff will happen. That makes men very susceptible to a woman who can easily just future fake.
Right.
As illustrated by Femme Sapien.
Mm-hmm.
So half the battle or half the convincing is actually done on the man's part, really. He ends up falling on his own spear.
Yeah.
She might plant the seed of ideals or idea or ambition in him, give him hope, but he's the one that waters the seed and tries to make it grow and manifest it. And then she thinks to herself, what an idiot.
Yeah, that's something also Paul's working on. Kind of along the lines of a boot camp, kind of an initiation training facility for young men that maybe have been raised with those single mothers out of created weakness. It's kind of, I don't know, he'll have to explain it. I think it's a great idea.
I would like to see some, maybe this Paul, I don't know who this guy is, but he could take this idea if he wants and run with it. But I would like to see. There's one thing to teach guys about working hard and to have these optimisms, like otherwise, what's the point? But alongside those lessons, to also teach the value of disappointment. So you say to a young man, look, it would be good for you to work hard and to strive forward and have ambition, but don't be surprised if you fail along the way and you might not actually reach your goal. It's almost reaching your goal is almost not really the point. The point is that you're trying to do something and that you're not going to be like bone idle, and because at the same time you don't want to tell them that like what's the point and you're going to be they'll end up being defeatist. But it's the value of losing, say.
Right.
So just because you might fail doesn't mean you're a loser. You can have good losers and terrible winners. I don't know if I really communicated that very well.
I think you did. Paul's pretty. What do people say? Based. He's a pretty good mentor and a leader. Losing is essential to becoming a true winner. This guy gets it.
I think also what it ends up teaching is it doesn't really matter where you get in life. What matters is your contentment. That you're happy with who you are, regardless of where you end up in life. That you know that to yourself that you weren't a slacker, because you don't want to raise men with this entitlement either. Or just because I worked hard, I deserve to have whatever, my dreams come true. It's like, no,
Right.
you might work your nuts off and end up homeless. What's going to happen if that happens? What are you going to do? Are you going to like cry like a baby and be bitter and angry, like damn it, and all this sort of stuff? So if you understand that shit happens in life, the world is not a fair place. There is no sort of, I mean, some people will be religious, but you try and knock that, like knock that daydreamy stuff off. Stop goofing around,
Yeah.
Like, then overall speaking, a guy should theoretically be okay. And being okay, this is one of my catchphrases, because people are perfectionists with their narcissism, demanding with their entitlement of perfectionism. So to cater for this perfectionism, I like to say being okay is perfectly okay, is all right. Being okay is perfectly all right.
So that wouldn't be a lowering of standards?
It would be a lowering of your entitled expectations.
Mm.
You still have your standards,
Right.
but you don't let your emotions run away with you. That's a lesson for women as well, really, but it's harder to help them.
Yeah, the lowering the expectations. I'm trying to figure out how to.
Some may call it unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
But it's not so much that they might not be unrealistic. It is theoretically possible to be. It is, attainable. But it's this sort of entitled sense of expectations, or even extreme sort of expectations.
Yeah. Well, but the problem I've see that is getting in the way of women actually getting snapped like into reality is the lack of suffering that they actually go through, or that they don't go through. They don't suffer like men suffer. They don't.
Yeah, it says
They,
pain avoidance. You know,
yeah, yeah,
I mean, this is in part what narcissism is about. It's the defense mechanism, you know, to do it in order to protect. So, if so, disappointment would be an injury. It's like see things for what they are. You know, fine, you're disappointed. Okay, it sucks. You know, your car got stolen. All right, but to have, well, actually, that's a bad example. Like you applied for a job. There are 100 other applicants. Someone else got the job. You didn't, so you're disappointed.
mm-hmm.
But to have that disappointment transform into an injury is where things have gotten out of hand.
Right.
So women,
A harm. They're using the word harm.
okay, harm then.
Yeah, you're harming them.
So a woman might not accept that she wasn't accepted in her application.
Right.
So she decides to complain to HR about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, just have some grace about you.
For somebody that's not used to taking no for an answer, that's harmful when you say no to them.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a word, no, but to them, you've just stabbed them in the heart.
Right. Just like with these, what do you call them, narcissistic abusers, when you put up boundaries and cut off their ability to abuse you, they take that as harm.
Yeah. Now, it might be a bit hard for us to sort of, I don't want to say like appreciate, but to really acknowledge how much of a injury it is for them. Because to us, it's like, you know, someone said no to you. What's the big deal? Someone had some boundaries. Good for them. You know, and it's like, yeah, but you don't understand. You know, they're having palpitations over it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, get a grip. It's like, well, they can't. And then they'll turn around, but you don't understand my pain. No one suffers as much as I do. It's like, fuck off.
Well, but something Paul brought up, he said the men today are recipients of participation trophies, but women, feminists, have been receiving participation trophies under the guise of equality for a long time. The enablers of our society have been encouraging this kind of behavior.
Yeah, and a lot of this enabler stuff as a result of the fear of potential injury. That's a little bit like, that's the deal with guilt. So they don't want the responsibility or the burden of feeling guilt.
Right. Well, because these people are actively trying to guilt them into submission. That's a female tactic.
Yeah. But it's to prevent the potential of the incoming pain that would follow. So again, it's a lot of people who are very sensitive to various types of injury, pain, trauma, basically, assault, attack.
Right.
That's where a lot of the hostility will emerge. You know, this presumption that just because you said no, not only are you stabbing them in the heart, but your no somehow is a form of attack. You're assaulting me.
Right.
You're going after me because you said no. It's like not true.
Yeah, they put you in a position to where they try to convince you via gaslighting, of course. They try to convince you that you defending yourself is assault.
Well, you're not allowed. See, from their entitled, selfish point of view, like you're not even supposed to be defending yourself. You're meant to say yes, but if you say no,
Mm-hmm.
you see, you've just proven that you're trying to cancel me. So you're
Mm-hmm.
going after me. Never mind about you defending yourself. You're
Mm-hmm.
the aggressor, not me. I'm just trying to get what I want and be entitled. What's wrong with that? It's like you don't even hear yourself. You know.
Uh-oh. Uncle Gun's putting out an olive branch. Yeah, Frost can be pretty bitey. See, yeah, there's I don't even want to get involved in that.
This is the one of the I like to count my blessing in this regard, because as much as people, I know it's like it's from individuals' point of view, like the strife and drama, these back and forths are in their mind and many others, it's supposed to be important. That's why they go on about it. But from my
Right.
point of view, I'm just an observer.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't actually go after anyone. If you notice, I don't tag anyone. Apart
right.
from this one exception with Alice on that one occasion,
Yeah.
isolated incident. But even then, I don't visit the channels. I don't leave comments. I don't really care. I've got no what's the term? No dog in the fight. It's
Yeah.
essentially it's kind of meaningless to me, especially when I look at superficial what's going on, and then I do my analysis or unpacking, and I realize no, there are bigger things at play here.
Yeah.
Hence what I call drama, really an arena for the exchange.
Yeah.
So when I put it into that sort of perspective, it's just like, for me, this is observations and education. Now, not to sound too cold or callous about it, but it's like I almost don't care,
Yeah.
because I know it's trivial at the end of the day. It doesn't really amount to much. Now, obviously, there are times when things can get way out of hand. Feds are called on people and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I trace it back as to why were the feds called, it's like, oh, this is all because someone had a boohoo.
Mm-hmm. Some crazy bitch got her fifis hurt. Yeah. Exactly.
And then they start reading as if I'm supposed to care. They start tagging me as if like I'm supposed to care.
Right.
And half the time I can hardly read what they've bloody written anyway.
Yeah. Well, Frost has a very, very low tolerance for fuckery. So people that have proven themselves to be dishonest and dishonorable, he immediately will write them off, and there's no coming back from that in his eyes, which I totally admire and respect his ability to not forgive the unforgivable.
Yeah,
But that also extends to, yeah, if you shook the unforgivable's hand, fuck you too. So anybody associated with the unforgivable, fuck you guys too. Like,
I mean, maybe I got it a little bit like a secondary blessing, because I've got a kid who is, like emotionally dysregulated and
yeah,
young still and things like that. So, a few hours being with the kid and dealing with her boo-hoos, and then I'm dealing with grown-up people having little tantrums. It's sort of like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll just absolutely be judged for your weakest link. If you're an organization, Frost will judge you by your weakest link. Hey, Rusty, by the way. Hey, Riggs. Good to see you guys. Yeah, but big picture-wise. Uh-oh, what is the brown pill? Is this a new pill that has emerged? Well, would you like to go into any kind of crazy bitch dissection?
Well, I kind of already did earlier with Contriver over that fence sapien. But is Kush here? Kush, are you there?
I think so. I think him and Hamster are gonna do. I think Hamster's gonna do some dissecting.
There was a point I wanted to make for Kush's benefit. I suppose he could play it back, or
Hey, Bandit.
or it could word could get to him or something. But it's in regards to, at some point in their conversation, I believe in the chat box, they were accusing Kush of gaslighting.
Yes, I remember that. That's why I put it. I added that to my title on the last one.
Hold on, I've got to grab my notes a second. Okay,
See if I can find it.
I've got a few notes here about that, because he stepped into a slight trap there. Now I know this wasn't his intention at all. Him keeping it, he describes it as being cool as a cucumber, was in part a way to preserve his sanity and not get emotionally invested and riled up himself. You know, to become the mess that Fem Sapien became. So that's all good, right? Now the reason why, unfortunately, they could turn around and say he was gaslighting, and for this accusation to possibly stick.
What a cunt! She put Kush on her. Oh, sorry, I just noticed this. Did you see this?
Did I see
Troll gaslights. Avoid this type of man. Here we go. She even made a clip.
Hello. I don't know how to.
Well, this is even more pertinent as to what I'm about to say.
Okay.
And she's going to prove, before even hearing this, I already know that she's going to further dig herself a deeper hole. And she's another person that needs to shut her fucking mouth.
She does need to shut her fucking mouth.
For her own sake, never mind anyone else's, because she's about to stick her foot in it. So Kush was keeping cool and calm, collected for the reasons I mentioned. Now the thing is, a narcissist may do a similar thing, and they will word salad and gaslight their target, and then turn to their target and be like, "Why are you so upset? Well, look what's happening." So superficially looking at it, it would appear as though Kush is being a narcissist.
Right.
If you didn't know his intention, then you would think this was the case.
Right.
Now, so what? How can we differentiate then from what Kush was doing to say what a narcissist would do? Is that, well, the narcissist is keeping a cool demeanor with the intention to aggravate and rile up the target. Now, Kush wasn't doing that to her. She did it to herself. He wasn't trying to make her lose her calm and get hysterical. She was doing it all on her own accord.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to, well, for the audience or for those who are questioning, to understand the intention behind it. So as a remedy for, because this could happen to anyone, particularly nowadays, the remedy for this situation is still to remain calm. Try not to point out the other person losing their cool, though.
Right.
Because that's where the narcissist would be like, oh, why are you getting so upset? I mean, I'm sorry to have to say that. Like, you should be able to say this to someone normally in a normal situation.
Yeah.
But you want to try to remove any accusations coming your way. Now, what he or someone in a similar situation could do is point out that it's not his intent to try and rile her up and get her upset, and that she's doing it to herself simply because he's holding her accountable.
Right.
And you could also point out, you could also say something like, in the heat of the moment, be like, look, listen, femme sapien, or listen, lady, how about you take a minute, cool down, calm yourself, compose yourself, and then let's continue, because you're obviously getting frustrated. Help
Wait.
them out a little bit.
But Billy, that would trigger her even more.
Well, that's on her, though. I mean, a true narcissist wouldn't want them to, a true narcissist would be would be rubbing their hands together at the sight of the target having a meltdown.
Right.
So for someone to pause the interview or debate or the interaction and be like, look, I can see you're getting upset. How about we calm down, both of us, or whatever, you need to calm down, collect your thoughts together.
Just saying you need to calm down. If you tell a crazy bitch what you think she needs, that's going to trigger them even more. Her response is going to be something like, who are you to tell me what I need? I mean, she was already doing that when she was trying to compete with him, like comparing herself to Kevin Samuels. And then when she brought up I'm a mid and you're unattractive or whatever, like trying to assert dominance over him based on looks.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you use the word calm, like, yeah, I see the point you're making. The point I'm trying to make is that try not to fall into the because they would like to pin the tail on the donkey and call you a narcissist. So if you can show that you're not a narcissist, because if you were, then you wouldn't have any compassion, you would have no empathy or anything like this. So the fact that you're trying to have a proper discussion and would like to actually sort of cool the situation down so that you can have a proper discourse would work in your favor. And with all that being said, in any case, if they want to blame you and call you a narcissist, they're going to still do it anyway. I mean, I've got people calling me a narcissist, and it's like, well, you know, you call me all sorts of names. You might as well call me a narcissist at this point. What does it matter? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, Kush. I see TNFS over there. I don't know what that guy's problem is. He just wants to start shit. I think he's what Psych would call a chaos merchant for some weird reason.
But if you wanted to hear some of the other notes I had on the that situation, which I kind of said on Contriver's thing, then you'll realize how much of a douchebag she really is. I'll try and fly through it because I've already been through it with Contriver. But in the very beginning, when Kush asked, can you give me an incentive for me to marry? And her reply was, well, no incentive, basically. So straight away, case closed, but that was already pointed out by Kush at the time. But by saying there is no incentive, she is also admitting that she's not going to do anything in the marriage. It's like, I ain't going to do shit.
Right.
So there's no reason why you would really want to marry me. And then she says that she asked her husband this question. And this is a dark-seated, a dark one. Because what she's doing here is she's passing the buck of responsibility over to the husband. She's saying to the husband, you come up with a reason why you should marry me. I'm not going to tell you why you should marry me. You have to conjure up some reason in your own mind. You have to create a delusion, basically, and find a reason to marry me. This is what a narcissist does, because this is out of the Narcissist 101 playbook, because that means whatever abuse that is about to happen, that is your fault. You decided to get married to me. I didn't make you. You did it. You decided. You gave yourself the reasons, so you deserve to be punished. You're begging for it. And this is someone who is promoting marriage.
Right.
So she's blaming the husband for the abuse that he will receive.
Right.
Because she'll say something like, well, I didn't twist your arm to marry me. I said I would like to get married, but you know, you didn't have to. She makes that point later on, like, you know, if you don't want to get married, you don't get married.
Right.
But she put the pressure on him. How about you come up with an incentive to get married to me? So he's invested. He's created his own imprisonment. And she's thinking, what a doofus. What a muppet. And as a result, he deserves to be treated like crap.
Right.
He's given me permission. And then she says there's no incentive other than the possibility of a good marriage. So, you know, so you're going to have to take a gamble, basically, for a possibility.
Right. She was selling a maybe of a possibility.
Yeah, this is future
of a unicorn.
Yeah, it's like if you're lucky, you'll find a good marriage. If you're lucky, you know.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's going to be with me. Those of you out there who might get married, you might be lucky and have a good marriage.
Right.
But you're not going to know unless you take this gamble. And it's kind of like, is that how it works with marriage? Is marriage meant to be a gamble? Wouldn't you want to know beforehand?
Well, she was in the realm, and I know the guys talk about this all the time, in the realms of the possibility versus what they kind of determine their future on, probability.
Right. But
that's why they use all the statistics. And even Chronic with the wanting a virgin, he's like, okay, well, there's, you know, with a virgin, he's figured it out that it's a 13% chance that he'll get divorced.
But
That's
the thing,
yeah.
right? So I'm glad you mentioned that, because she doesn't mention the negative side of this possibility.
Nope.
It's the incentive is there's the possibility of a good marriage. It's like, yeah, what about the possibility of a bad marriage? He's like, no, we won't think about, like, we're trying to future fake here. We're trying to make false
Right.
promises. Like, so don't be talking about the negatives.
Right.
So she's fluffing up the delusion. Now, when asked, apparently, or she says that he married her because
Mm-hmm.
he believed that is what she wanted, and he loved her enough to marry her. So this isn't about making himself happy, unless it's the roundabout way, like if happy wife, happy life. So as long as she's happy, then I could be happy. But this is unhealthy behavior. This is not the reason to get married. This is a bad reason to get married. So he's doing it for her. And the thing is, this is all in his head. So marriage is to benefit her. Never mind what he might want out of it. Which is handy from her point of view, because she's not intending to give him anything anyway.
Right.
Because she said there's no incentive. Ergo, I ain't going to do shit in this marriage. And he's like, well, that's okay. You don't need to do shit as long as I can make you happy. So if she decides she doesn't want a marriage anymore, where does this leave him? If it was all about just making her happy, and she's, is he going to be upset if she turns around and says, I want a divorce? Now, obviously, he will, most people, I would imagine, would kind of be upset that their wife suddenly turned around and said they want a divorce. But
Right.
if this is all about making her happy, then theoretically, according to this line of logic, he'll be, if she wanted to cheat on him with another partner, have a polyamorous marriage, he should be okay with it.
Polyamorous love cocoon.
As long as she's happy, then he's happy.
Right.
So, okay, my queen.
Right.
This is the problem this husband has entered.
Yeah.
She makes a point to say that marriage is the biggest self-improvement project you'll ever take. So what's the project here? She's the project. And it is the biggest self-improvement. He has to improve her sense of self. He makes her happy, right?
Right.
So she is the project. And it's going to be his biggest challenge to make her happy. The biggest challenge in life isn't going to be war. It isn't going to be your career or anything like that. It's to please the woman. So this is the biggest challenge he'll ever face in his life. That is to make her improve her sense of self. So this is what she calls as self-improvement. One-sided, her self-improvement at the behest of her husband doing the work.
Right.
His job. And if he doesn't do it, if he doesn't fulfill his end of the bargain, then he's a shit husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she then says that the only benefit to the man is that your now wife may be a better partner than your previously titled girlfriend. Why? Because being married might, if you're lucky, possibility, make her feel pride. She might feel pride from being now titled as a wife. And that's a bad reason to get married. So you're telling me you're going to treat me better if we get married? Why can't you treat me good like now?
Right.
I have to marry you before you treat me with some respect?
Right.
This is BS. And if you're lucky, she'll treat you better, because this is all dependent on whether or not she feels pride, whether or not you as the husband have fulfilled your obligations of this self-improvement project with a possibility of her being happy.
Right.
Because now, is she gonna have pride? Is she gonna be happy? Probably maybe like to play it off in the beginning, but before long, probably not, because if she were to be content with pride, that means she can't extract any more from the man. That means he doesn't need, that means the project's complete, and this ain't good. This is meant to be a
Right.
lifelong project, so she
Right.
can never allow herself to be fully have full pride. And in any case, why should the man be responsible for her having pride? Like, can't she have pride being the girlfriend? Can't she treat him better as a decent human being regardless of status?
Right.
So this is this is like love, air quote love, with strings attached.
Right. Well, it's transactional, obviously.
And
I mean,
yeah, it's transactional. Yeah,
which I'm not completely against, because you're not gonna love somebody that's a piece of shit if they always treat you like a piece of shit. I mean, there's gonna be reciprocity there.
she doesn't.
But
He doesn't say anything that she'll do for her husband. Now,
right.
she'll mention, if you're lucky, you might find a woman who will take care of you when you're old, who will cook you meals, who will give you children. But at no point does she say that that's the kind of woman she is.
Right. Well, no, she's fucking online, like doing this shit. I don't know.
So she's like, so the rest of you who may get married, if you're lucky, the possibility is you might get a good wife who will look after you when you're old. You might find a unicorn, but that sure ain't me.
Right.
At the get-go, remember, like, there is no incentive. I ain't gonna do shit.
Right.
So that doesn't do her cause for marriage any service. And the way she, when she says, like, a wife may be a better partner,
Yeah.
again, it's the only considering it's the future faking again, where it's like, think of all the positives, because what's the opposite of a better partner? Could you be, what about a partner that was better at causing damage? A wife better at causing damage than your girlfriend?
Right.
No, she overlook. Obviously she's going to overlook that because she doesn't want to, like, give the game away. So a good woman overall is all dependent whether or not she marries you, and the only way she's going to marry you is if you come up with the reasons to marry her in the first place.
Right.
So she can move the goalpost however she likes, and he has to do the mental gymnastics and compromise his integrity to attain this false dream, should he be so lucky, because it's all going to be the carrot dangling and just out of reach, because no way would the dream come true.
Fucking Manletopia. Sorry. Oh man.
We'll hold the record for the smallest butt.
Yes,
Yes,
Daddy, put it in my butt next.
He just has one buttock. There's just an empty void where the other should be.
Well,
A uni butt.
that's just a taste of what she's going to be getting. So, Manletopia trying to ease her on in gently. Oh, man.
Then there's this tangent onto Christianity, and she's saying that you should get married. So you should base all this on your religious beliefs. So never mind, you don't need a brain. You don't need to, like, be rational, or do any, like, pros and cons. Just go with religion and just get married. And so now this means, and she says, because according to her, being Christian is about.
Sorry. King Kush. When she said, I mean, you should probably get married. He's like, why? Look at his face. That's pure terror.
Yeah, but according to
Hey,
her, Christianity is
right. But will you keep going? I have to run to the restroom.
yeah,
I'm going to
sure.
still listen, though. I know you got more to this to break down.
Well, you should get married so that you can have children and create more Christian offspring or whatever. So marriage now seems to be all about having children. It's like, but is that real? Do you have to be? I mean, I'm not married, yet I have a child. So I'm an outlier there. And you'll notice her sign language for when she says, I don't know, is to put her hands up. Now, later on, after insulting Kush, she does that hand gesture again. I don't know. So, and Kush calls her out on it and says, like, you just bloody insulted me. And she's playing dumb. So it's like, I've just thrown mud in your eye and and it wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. So there's gaslighting. And she's also being kind of cocky and smarmy because it's like, haha, I'm going to insult you and I'm going to deny all accountability of having insulted you just to infuriate you even more. So like a double whammy of insult. And I'll just shrug it off like I don't know what you're talking about. You must be crazy or something. You must be hearing things. And it's like, damn it, bitch. You just said what you just said at me. So that hands up, deny accountability. You'll notice throughout the whole exchange, she's not taking any accountability whatsoever. She doesn't give any examples of her own situation with her husband. Doesn't demonstrate any responsibility she has. She doesn't describe her wife role or duties or position. So she's completely. He's managed to circumvent accountability throughout, and that I don't know hand gesture is another way of doing that. There's a point about statistics being brought up. Kush says 80%, she says 65 to 90. The point here is that it doesn't matter what the figures are. What she's doing is she's trying to falsify them and say, like, look, these statistics are unreliable, they're inaccurate, they could be anything. Therefore, they don't really count. We cannot go by statistics because they've been discredited. And of course, you would want to discredit them because she's trying to sell a dream here, people. Get with the program. So, likely, thus, in her own marriage, she's probably even doing the same thing, only thinking about the perks and the benefits and not the responsibilities or the drawbacks. She says that, marriage is meant to be like a biggest challenge or hard work or whatever. She doesn't, and she sells it by saying, hey, you might get a good wife. Now, anyone who indeed has a healthy marriage, I'm pretty sure they made a remark or a comment at some point and said, hey, I love my husband or wife dearly, absolutely, with all my heart and soul. And, but there are times where we could drive each other mad or something like that. They'll talk about the rocky times. And even though there were rocky times, hey, they're just rocky times, and it doesn't impact the relationship because at the end of the day, we really do love each other and we both want to be together. And, but she's creating this paradise, one-sided, lopsided, like it's all sunshine and rainbows and there's nothing wrong. There is no down bad time in a marriage.
Right.
So she's hiding, she's distorting reality, and she's hiding a balanced perspective. And of course, the perks and benefits is the reason why she has pride. It's the princess syndrome.
Mm.
And if he's a good boy, if he's lucky,
Mhm.
because he gambled, and the possibility happens to be, fortune happens to be in his favor on this good day, then she may reward him,
Mm.
with a little trinket just to keep him on the hook. And now onto the sort of grifting side of it. So she's saying that she doesn't mind making money, but in her defense, which she says, like, look, buyers, people who spend money, they're growing up, they can make their own decisions, they can do whatever they want. That's kind of like a scripted, flippant sort of answer.
Mhm.
So what she is really sort of avoiding trying to say is that she has no problem taking money from people and will not feel guilty about it. So what does that mean about her husband then? She's not going to feel guilty about taking things from him, his love and affection. And going back to, like, what's the incentive? Like, I ain't going to do shit. You come up with your own reasons for marrying me. Well, if he chooses to marry me, just like how the people choose to pay me money, then that's on them. I ain't going to be responsible for that. Suckers. I don't mind. So she's not going to mind people paying her money or people marrying her because she's got little to offer. She doesn't describe what she has to offer. So when the marriage fails, because no fuel or supply is going to be output 24/7 for the rest of their life. The guy's going to be exhausted. He's going to have his life force sucked out of him. And that would be his fault because she's not taking any responsibility or ownership in the relationship. He got what he deserved is her kind of mentality. And so this is basically how she operates the grift. The grift, in the same way, is how she got the husband, is by offering false promises. And if the buyer is lucky or the husband is lucky, they might get something worthwhile out of it. It's not a guarantee, and if they do get something out of it, it's only because she feels pride. So they should be grateful to her. It's not something they've earned or deserved as such. It's not something like she just decides to give out of her own generosity, like without any strings attached. No, like you have to win my affection in a way, but in a more toxic way about it. And so the marriage fundamentally is based on how she feels at the time and her fuel requirements. There is nothing really about the sanctity of marriage in what she describes. It is she has without realizing it and without using such words, she has explained how to abuse a man, to exploit him, to capitalize out of him, and give you every reason not to marry. So well done. Just seeing if I've got any other little bits. So she hasn't described how she's made the husband's life any better or brought any quality to him. Just fake possibilities that maybe, not even her, but maybe some other woman might treat their man with some care and compassion in his old age. And so if you put all this wishful thinking, delusional sort of fantasy creation aside, like she said earlier, I mean, there is no incentive. What is that? I mean, that's the only true part of what she's talking about, is that there is no incentive. You'll be a sucker to marry me, and you get what you deserve. So she's full of excuses, blame, divorce, bad attitude. She's shaming. She's got snarky remarks. She is foul all
She's
around.
super fucking foul.
You know, it's hard to, even if you wanted to try and see some sort of good in her, it's hard. I would have to delude myself to see something good.
Right.
And this is what that husband most likely had to do. He had to compromise his integrity, sacrifice his well-being in order to be able to then allow himself to believe in the delusion that he is trying to create for himself and that she is trying to imprison him in. Pretty tragic. I mean, is in some ways, if you have just a bad marriage, you got off lucky.
Right.
If you're in a situation like how she's crafted, your soul is in peril.
Yeah, I don't know shit. I'm just like, what the fuck are you even doing then? If you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she's being avoidant because Kush is trying to pin her down, trying to hold her accountable, asking simple questions.
Simple questions. That if she's some kind of coach, she should have answers for on the spot, right?
But the coach side of it, even if she was legitimately trying to be a coach, has to take a back seat because her priority is not to be held accountable, so that she could be blameless, that she could be at no fault.
Right.
So it almost doesn't really matter what sort of question Kush is asking. The fact that it's a type of question which puts her in a box. Funny enough, she's sitting in the corner, but puts her in a corner. She needs to maintain her options of escape, to be elusive. So answering a question as simple as it is a no-go for her, because that commits her. She's not about commitment. And this is why she's not about committing to a marriage. Oh, I think Mandy's on the phone. Well, yeah, so that's my general rundown of my take on what I've observed. I'm not attacking FemSec. I'm not going after her. I'm just criticizing the fuckery that she's up to. It's nothing new. It's just another example of how cunning and insidious these chameleons can be. How they can make torture sound so romantic and so blissful, that you will want to carve out your own heart to give to her because she is such a mermaid or unicorn. This is why they say, like, don't think with your dick, gentlemen. This is the kind of trap, if you're not careful, you'll fall for. And the thing is,
right,
as evilly twisted as it all is, in some ways she is right, because she started off with this, look, I might say I want to get married, but I'm going to put the burden of responsibility on you, so that means if anything f's up,
right.
I can't be to blame. You made that decision. You didn't have to marry me, but you chose to marry me. She warned him at the very beginning, but he did not take the red flag. because
Right.
he was so head over heels infatuated. So, as painfully brutal as it might sound, if he gets abused and punished, and you get what you deserve, serves you right, in some ways, she did warn him. She is correct.
Right. Hey, John, how are you? Yeah, John. Right now he's over currently on Hamster Stream, doing a little bit of dissection of this video too.
So yeah, I mean, that's basically my note taking up to wherever it was in the dialogue. Kush, if you're still there listening, I wonder what you thought of what I contributed there. Did it help you out at all, or?
Yeah, RP Pope, me being on and off the phone has nothing to do with what you said. So when my son calls, I answer the phone. Could be an emergency, who knows? Yeah, this part where
She almost
Kush
looks like half. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but she
Yeah.
looks like she's half asleep. Like she doesn't care.
No, she doesn't care.
You'd think she'd be attentive, be like, you've got a question and it's a pertinent type of question. I think I better wake up for this one. Sorry, you were gonna.
Well, Kush brings up the guys who get divorces and lose half their blah 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 blah, and she's like, yeah, and you know what Ryan thinks about that? she brings her husband into this. If they could have just put down the sugar, he thinks that they could possibly had held frame. He thinks that they possibly could have blah 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 blah.
Yeah, so she's abusing her husband by name in like the spirituality as if he was here,
Right?
and is trying to say like, well, that means you need to do better, man up, kind of thing, and output some more if you want to win her affection. You're not being you isn't good enough. You have to be above and beyond.
Right.
I don't know. Is that what they mean by lay down the sugar? Like pull your finger out your ass kind of thing?
I don't know.
Like get on your knees and lick my shoe kind of. I don't know. Grovel.
Yeah.
Please, my angel, just tell me you love me.
Yeah, see, I don't know about the cussing thing. I follow Louis Rossman, and he has almost 2 million subs, and this dude says fuck like all the time, and he's still monetized and all the things. So, I mean, he's technically not a manosphere channel; he's a tech channel, but he does espouse a lot of the talking points from the manosphere on his channel, and he still gets away with it. Oh, lay down the sugar means show affection. Okay. See, that's PUA language. I don't really get.
Yeah. So this is coming from her husband, Ryan. Then it
Mhm.
just shows you how much of a cuck, basically, he is. How much of a pansy, is that the right way of putting it? How much of a wuss or whatever. It's like, listen, fellas, you need to become deplorable, just like me. It worked well for me. Look at the queen I've got. So
Right. Hey, Pink.
It shows you how deep into the delusion he is, where he thinks he's a slayer, he's a winner or whatever. And it's like, dude, your woman thinks you're a laughing stock. You know, she's only using you just for her own gratification and status, so that she can have pride. And not even
Well, and have a channel. And
and the other part, the residual benefits. It's nothing to do with him as a person. He doesn't
right.
say anything about whether he's funny, smart, skillful, whether even if he was rich or 6 foot tall or whatever. She's described nothing about him, what she does for him, how she helped build a home together with him or anything like that. You know,
Yeah.
and from what I gather, they're only so far 10 months married. So, you know, usually 6 months in is one of the windows of perspectives. Is one of the sort of marking points where relationships can take a turn. A year is another one.
Right.
So you can kind of look at it every sort of 3 to 6 months is the potential for things to go topsy-turvy. And it's basically he's on a ticking clock. There's nothing in this that suggests to me perseverance or endurance, other than how much of a fuel vessel he is, how much fuel he contains that she can extract. That's basically why he's around, because she's busy, because he still has blood, a supply of blood that she can suck out of him. But once that's gone, will she still be around? Is she one of those good women that she described?
Right. Doubtful. Well, I mean, maybe if
Because
her channel.
remember at the beginning, she said there are no incentives. Basically, I ain't gonna do shit,
Right.
and it's all a gamble and risk taking, and I ain't gonna be responsible. That's a risk on your end. So there's nothing there to suggest that she's gonna stick around with him through the thick and the thin.
Yeah, the comments. What the hell? Female traditional woman. This man doesn't know how to keep a woman happy.
All of this in part can help. I wouldn't be surprised. Like she can orchestrate it in such a way that she can replay this to her husband to keep him locked up in this marriage delusional prison.
Right.
By saying like, look, husband, look how lucky you are that you're married to me. Look at all these people who aren't married and how bitter they wish they were. They wish they were you. They wish that they were us, or something like that. And then he'd be like, oh yes, I might be getting abused and mistreated, but I'm still lucky.
Right.
Like, oh man.
You are very patient. God bless. Oh, God. Oh, man. I just can't. I can't.
Very patient. I think it's because she didn't know how to handle Kush. So she was like, oh God, system error, malfunction, computer crash. Oh, let me reboot. And like, oh, she's very patient.
Right.
So patient, she looks like she's frozen.
Right. See a little bit of a little freeze fight response.
But this is why she was like pulling out these, like, oh, what can I do? I need to throw him off his game plan or whatever. I need to give him an insult. I need to deflect. I need to wave my hands up in the air. I need to start
Right.
talking fast. Oh, is my mic too loud? Do I need to turn it down for you, old timer kind of thing? Like, oh, I could turn it down for you. Look, here's me helping you. Aren't I a good soul? It's like, stupid bitch.
Chaos
Like,
merchant.
if your voice was too loud, I could turn it down on my end. I don't need you to turn it down. Like, because she's talking about the tone in her voice is getting escalated.
Right.
Nincompoop.
Mm-hmm. She's fucking retarded. I can't believe that she's a thing. I don't know. Well, it's just a microcosm for a bigger societal problem.
I mean, she's put herself in a bit of a, like, she's capitalizing on it while she can. So I suppose as a capitalist, you could say kudos to that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But she now has a little bit of a problem, because what will happen in 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, or whenever, and the marriage, what would happen if the marriage fails?
Oh, I don't see it succeeding at all.
Neither do I. But what's she going to say? She's not going to say it's going to be her fault. She's going to say it's his fault.
Right, for not doing all the things she listed that guys need to do to,
And then men evil or whatever as well on top of it.
yeah.
But it goes in the face of all of this marriage counseling. But I guess at the same time, like, it doesn't matter at that point. She's already taken the money and she's run off with it. So,
Right. This is my favorite part.
That's when you thought you were just going to do a little fart and a brick came out. The surprise follow through. I just shut my pants.
Oh.
I mean, it's almost like comedic timing on her. Obviously, like, because his face is makes it's icing on the top, but her comedic timing, it's like, oh, it's pretty means you should get married. Like, she doesn't realize how ludicrous, how ridiculous.
She sounds. She sounds. Yeah. No, she. How is she to know? Because she has all these people calling her queen.
It's like,
Slay queen, slay.
It's like, forget everything we've just discussed. Oh, you're a Catholic? Oh, well, you should probably get married then. Like, oh, silly me for thinking of all the pros and cons and potential pitfalls and all this. Ugh. I had the answer all along. Just get married. There we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of flies in the face of her own character as well, because, like, what's the point of asking her for an opinion or her perspective if the answer is going to be, oh, you're a Christian? Well, you should just get married.
Right? Because that's God's plan for you. I mean, she's really pulling all the tricks out of the hat with this one. I hope her paid for perspective services don't fucking end up like that.
Yeah, she says you should get married, and then not so long later on, she'll be like, well, the insult is to say something, it's like you're not desirable or something like that, or no one would marry you, or something like this. So it's like, it's almost, you could say like a bit of a two-faced bitch about it.
Yes, very much. No, like this. She tried all the. That's why I liked Mark Ryan's quote. It was perfect timing for this. All of it. Look at Krish's face in the background. But I wonder if I can. Yeah.
But Kush did an excellent job of bringing her the flame and holding her to account.
Yeah.
And not letting this female like worm her way out of the corner.
Yeah. Yep, but ultimately, I don't think anybody really cares about any of it.
Well, it shows you the power of the dream.
Right.
And there'll be people who'll be like, look, I know you're dreaming, but look, please consider that. Look, you could have a toe cut off in the morning. And they'll be like, yeah, it might happen, but still, I'll still say yes. And it's like, dude, she's going to take the kids, she's going to take the house, she's going to take the car, she's going to take, she's going to false out, you're going to be in jail. And they'll be like, yeah, I'm still going to say yes. It's like, what is it going to take for you to realize that this is a bad proposition? And it's nothing. It's the trouble is, at this point, is not so much the woman, it's the man's own, like he is his own worst enemy in that regard. Like it's sadly his own heart and emotions running wild that he cannot contain or control. So he has to, where the heart goes, he must follow.
Well, but I think that's kind of how it's supposed to be without society the way it is currently. That's definitely a higher risk.
The heart is a poor decision maker. That's why you got a brain.
Well, yeah, but the married thing. I think there's a lot of people that still want to be married. A lot of guys.
Well, I think it's good if you kind of walk in unison with your heart, where where your heart goes, you sort of there. You're not being pulled along like a puppy by your heart.
Right.
Then you're like a love-sick fool.
Right.
Love is blind, so you can't see the danger in front of you.
Yeah, I was talking with one of the gentlemen that was at the 21 convention, and he was kind of going over the checklist that the feminists would freak out, like, oh my God, that's oppressive, that's slavery. And one was like he put it all out on the line, like, yeah, I don't want my wife to have any male friends, period. So cut off all communication with your male friends. She was like, okay. Like, I mean, I don't know if that would be considered maintaining frame, but that is definitely
Over in the UK,
reasonable.
That would be against the law now over here in the UK.
What? To say
That's
that?
like because I've forgotten the checklist of the new forms of domestic violence, but it's basically a domestic violent act.
Right.
To cut off friends, family. That's what they say. Like, you're cutting them friends, family, to financially abuse them.
Right.
Tell them that they can't go out or something like that. This is all forms of domestic violence now.
Yeah, well, feminists have been pushing that for a long time. And the only reason they do that is because the radical lesbians want to get the girlfriends away from the husbands so they can predate upon them. I've seen it happen firsthand. I saw a pair of lesbian wives or whatever fucking groomed the shit out of this young, innocent. I mean, she was pretty innocent at the time. And they got into her marriage. They got her away from her fucking husband and started manipulating her and planting seeds. And, you know, a couple months later, oh my God, he's so abusive because he doesn't want you out with us partying. I mean, they wanted to get her in bed. That was their goal, to get her away from the husband. And it fucking worked. And now she's on OnlyFans. Like, video gaming and naked on OnlyFans. Like the progression of her trashing her own life because she listened to these crazy bitches that didn't have her best interest at heart. It was really sad to watch.
Yeah.
I think a husband has every right to be like, I see danger over there. I don't see their good intentions. Cut it off. Like, the wife should fucking listen to that. Especially if they're too stupid to fucking see it themselves.
Yeah, especially in like the way things are nowadays.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's kind of like practicing safe sex. So in the same way, it's kind of like practicing safe socializing.
Yes, because these radical lesbians, especially, are emotional rapists.
Yeah,
That's how they get in there. Yeah.
Like grooming as well.
Yes. Yes.
Can't be trusted.
Hey, Emmanuel.
And this is what, see, because, you know, you say submissive and they think this is oppression or slavery. But if this was a fight and someone is to submit, you know, they think this is losing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what men really kind of are trying to suggest when they say we want someone who is submissive is that we don't want someone who is combative or argumentative. We're not talking about slavery or cutting out their tongue. You know, they can still have a voice and opinion, but this circular backwards and forwards, dragging things out, mayhem, twisting words and word salad and getting hysterical is not what, you know. And then when you work out psychologically why all that taking place is to make the man or target disorientated so that they become vulnerable, then it's not the man saying to the woman to be submissive that is the aggressor. It's her that's being the aggressor with all this manipulation.
Right.
So when he says be submissive, he's kind of like saying, please stop abusing me.
Right.
Like, I want to have a symbiotic relationship where we could be equal. Your opinion matters. I'll listen. If you've got a point and it's valid, I'll listen to it. But this jibber jabber nonsense has to end.
Right. Well, and that
you're making me go insane.
Right. And that goes back to telling them no for putting up boundaries so they don't mentally and emotionally rape you.
Yeah.
Hello, Bingus, by the way.
We will not be submissive. We're going to continue to be abusive.
Yeah.
We want to continue being empowered. And it's like, whoa. Okay, fine. You don't want to be submissive? Then I'm gone, basically.
Right.
I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not making you be submissive. I'm asking you, could you please stop it?
Yeah, stop being a tyrant.
Yeah. If you don't want to do that, then what other option is there? I have to go.
Right.
It's over.
Right.
That's the end of it. You win. You can carry on being empowered, but I'm not going to be here. I'll tell you what, in this case, I'm the one that's going to submit. This ain't worth it. Fine, I lose. Goodbye.
Well, but in a way, the ultimate lose would be her.
Well, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
She got what she wanted.
Right.
That's the thing.
Well, no. What she wants is a slave. That's what she wants.
She still got what she wanted. She got a slave. It's herself.
They'll never see it that way, though.
Poetic justice sort of side of things, where she's the one who has she needs to submit to her own. Her ego is what needs to submit, which will never happen. And as a
Right.
result, she oppresses herself fundamentally.
But she'll never see it that way. She'll always blame somebody else.
Yeah.
The covert narcissistic. The world just hasn't recognized my greatness or whatever.
But she can blame all the people she wants
Mhm.
while she's alone, being miserable, kicking rocks or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be in that company for her to blame you. She's going to slander you behind your back. I mean, I'm sure, like, when me and the ex broke up, despite all the crap she was putting me and my kid through, in one of the photos I saw, she received sympathy flowers.
Mm-mm.
So she must have been she must have been putting on the waterworks at
Of
work,
course.
and they all felt sorry for her or her
Of
friends.
course. Yeah.
My relationship is over. It's like, but you're the one who broke the
Broke
family
it up. Yeah.
And she's the one that got flowers. I didn't get any flowers. My kid never got any flowers.
Right.
So I'm sure for like she's smear run a smear campaign and said she also. This is why, like, when people want to call me names and things like that, it's like, you think it's gonna fucking matter to me at this point?
Right.
You can call me whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's not gonna make any difference. I've already got people calling me shit, and they're in my family.
Right. Yeah, it's like these family members that I actually gave a shit about did the same thing. What makes you think your words have more weight than theirs? Like, really? I still can't get over the been to jail thing. I'm still trying to figure out where I think it's a projection from Alice. I think she feels so much shame and guilt, which she should, for, breaking the law and getting put away and, not being there for her kids because she's being a selfish, irresponsible cunt bag. I think that rumor came out of a projection of hers, her own shame and guilt for being a terrible mom. It's like, how are you going to put that on somebody that's literally has a completely clean record? How is that even a thing? And it's traveled all over throughout all the different bubbles.
Wow. This is in part why it's a self-defeating course of go through life,
Yeah.
So whatever stunt, whatever harebrained idea, before I've even heard it, like how you showed the thumbnail of Femme Sapien saying that Kush is now gaslighting. I don't even need to watch the video. I already know it's not going to work in her favor, because it's that fight, it's that juxtaposition of reality versus fantasy, and reality will always win. This is why truth will always prevail. Actual truth, not this my truth bollocks.
Right.
Actual truth. The truthy truth will prevail. And it doesn't need any defense, whereas a lie needs defending continually.
Right. Right.
And so when you see these women constantly trying to defend themselves, on that basis alone, you don't even need to know what they're saying. You already know that it's a lie.
Right. I was just homeschooling my 7-year-old.
And this is why I don't need to defend myself, because the truth will do the arguing for me.
Right.
I just carry on doing whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the tricks of the narcissist, where they try and make you become defensive so that you're spinning your wheels trying to justify yourself, and in hopes that you're going to blunder in some way, and they can go, ha, caught you out.
Right.
That's the gaslighting in action.
Yeah. I just don't like how they. I mean, he seems to be able to combat it well. They just won't let up on Manlet. Well, she, specific multiple personalities, crazy bitch, just won't let up on
They-
Manletopia.
Right. They think it's a good idea, but take the principles here. The more
Yeah.
they try and use Manitopia like as their angle of attack, the
Mhm.
more it will backfire. So this will look more desperate on their part. It will look more embarrassing on their part, more idiotic. This is just not going to work. Simple as that. Like there is only like you like there is only one type of gold kind of thing. Like you can have fake gold. You can have gold paint. You can paint a rock with gold paint. It's not gold.
Mhm.
It might look like it. It might fool some people, but
Right.
it's not the real thing. There is only one real thing, and that is the real thing. Everything else is imitation.
Right.
And what Fed Sapien is doing, like with this video, trying to now damage control the situation and divert attention over to Kush,
Right.
is part of this imitation. It's like the chameleon / imitation, where she's trying to distort reality, spin a truth that there is indeed gaslighting going on, but it's not Kush
Mhm.
who's doing it. It's her.
Right. Right.
So she's trying to pass the buck and make it his fault.
Mhm.
A bit like a marriage. So it might be uncomfortable for Kush to hear, but as a result of this now, she is in a sort of pseudo kind of relationship with him.
Oh, he got himself entangled.
He's entangled now. And in the same way, so for what's to come, or what we could expect to come, if we look at what she said in that video that we had a quick analysis over, and the way it would seem her marriage is structured, this will be an overlay of the kind of dynamics Kush could expect to see.
Mhm.
So she's not going to take any responsibility. It's going to be his fault.
Right. Well, it's already his fault.
You know, she's going to any validation, because typically victims want, you know, like in part with the closure, they want that validation of like, no, I'm correct here. Well, she's going to dangle that truth of validation just out of arm's reach to annoy Kush even more. The same way like she probably does to her husband.
Right.
You know, and then maybe at some point, so that she could pretend to seem like she's a reasonable girl. Like I'm not such a mean girl. She might say like, oh well, Kush was, yeah, he was right about those statistics before. At which point it's like, fuck you. You know, like why are you saying my statistics are right now suddenly? Like you're giving me crumbs here. Why? And
Right.
it's because she wants to pretend to be have some decency about her. It's not because she actually believes in the statistics and thinks he's actually correct. No, she's just abusing him even further.
Right. Yeah.
I'm on to you, Fem Sapien.
Hmm.
And so are many other people.
Oh yeah, everybody. I can't stand her. She's like that that proselytizer that shows up at your door and keeps coming back and keeps coming back. Well, I'm going to be taking a break from streaming, and I'm supposed to be writing. I have so many different book ideas in my brain that I need to get out. This is going to be very challenging for me because I hate writing. So,
Yep. I've been
Going
trying to
to-
write for a long time now.
Yeah,
And writing is supposed to be my strong point.
really.
You think I talk shit on live streams? You should see the things I write.
Mm. Yeah, Peng, she's good. She's not involving herself with crazy bitches. She's quite allergic to them. She doesn't think they deserve any time of day. So she's for her own sanity. She's in the kind of the Catholic sector where they punish such behavior. She kind of stays away from the psychological deep diving on these crazy cunts. So they are so far beneath her that she doesn't even want to hear anything about them. And that's why she's what? Supreme Marie Superior, the Catholic dictator.
So could I ask what kind of book you're writing, or what sort of audience, or is it
I don't
better
know.
to keep it all a surprise or something?
Oh, I have many books. One has to be a one that women will want to pick up, one that feminists will want to pick up. One's going to be required reading for people in the institutions. One is going to be, I think, for men to help validate their feelings and their lived experience. I don't know. I have a few ideas.
This is you as a title, and then it's like dot to dot. And when they complete all the dots, it draws out a giant cock or something silly. Just being silly. Ignore me.
That's funny. Yeah.
Do some put some coloring in pages.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Crazy bitches for dummies. Yeah. One's going to be on ideological infection for sure. I don't know. I might do one on race, or I don't know if that'll be a chapter of one of the books about how black people made me racist. Because I'm pretty convinced, and I've already asked Emmanuel about this, and quite a few other people. Like if somebody is basing their identity on their skin color and their behavior claiming this identity and their abuse and their just asshole behavior towards other people that are white, like it's perfectly acceptable for me to dislike them because of their skin color, right? Because it's actually their skin color is their fucking identity that is the result or the cause for their shitty behavior.
Well,
Would that be racist? Because
you could
hold on, Billy. All
Yeah.
the abusive, especially the crazy black bitches, I can't fucking stand them. They're ridiculous. They're so fucking disrespectful. They act like fucking animals and they hate white people.
Yeah.
So they claim that they only behave like that because they're black.
Yeah. No, and you know, you're doing very well making the connections, and it pans out. You know, it has a trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're describing, this is the problem with people who like to think, they like to spout out like critical thinking. You need to be more logical, and it's like it doesn't quite
Right.
work on its own, because you end up doing what's called like a logic circuit.
Mm-hmm.
You can go all the way around and back to the start again on just logic.
Right.
So with that kind of example, then yes, theoretically you could. The point you're making is on the opposite side of the circuit. Like you traveled halfway around this circle, and now you're at the other side, where it's like you black people are talking about racism, but
They're the most racist people in our country.
So here are the steps, and it turns out that no, you're the ones that are the most racist.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes logical sense. And then you carry on going around, and they'll go back saying like, "Oh no, you're the one being a racist." So you can basically go around this circle of logic over and over again.
Well, and it could be called the chapter in the book, you know, am I racist or do I just hate racists?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
But what interrupts this feedback loop is the emotional intersection.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why, in part, you can't just dismiss the significance of emotions.
Right.
As much as people like to be logical and critically minded, your emotions play a crucial part in that understanding and meaning and significance. Because without the emotions to intersect the logic, to break up that circuit, you'll just logically go around in circles.
Right. Nope, I refuse to submit to the crazy bitch tyranny. And I wish other people felt confident enough to also tell them no, because I feel like, I mean, Jordan Peterson calls them terrified tyrants for a reason. They're scared, crazy bitches. They do everything out of fear. And people coddle their fears and give them what they want. And they should tell them no. And they're everywhere. Right, Emmanuel? I'm like this because I'm black. You make blackness a legitimate reason for people to avoid you. Yes. And I'm not an advocate for throwing money at people that do this shit, like funding domestic terrorism. You have a minority of people that want to terrorize the majority, and the majority of the people are paying for it. That's not right. And it's the women who are doing this. The women who are facilitating it. So, they need to be told no. Everywhere.
Well, if this is your last stream while you're going on a break, then it's been an honor to been on the panel with you this evening, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Billy, for coming up. It's always an honor to work with you. I know, like, my last stream was actually going to be my last stream, but I was like, man, I need to touch base with Billy. I feel like before I really need to dive into this writing stuff.
I feel guilty now. I don't know how. It's like
Why?
I feel like, well, I didn't have a slice of cake for you. I think you should have had the cake. So, it's your like a going away present.
Yeah. Well, I would like you guys to keep stuff going in my absence
Oh yeah.
here. If there's anything that's, crazy bitch related. I know I gave.
I relinquished the control, so I don't have that anymore. So whoever has it, we'll have to go to them.
Oh, that's going to be problematic, Billy.
Well, then you better hurry up and write that book so that you can come back.
All right. This is a brand new thing for me, so.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you and all the best, and hope it goes well. It's a shame Christmas has come and gone. We could have got you like a quill and a jar of Indian black ink.
I actually have one. Should I write it with the feather?
Yeah.
I have a couple, actually.
Yeah, get a wax seal put on there. Yeah. You have to write under candlelight.
Yeah.
Next to a skull with a raven sitting on top.
That would be funny.
And everyone in the chat, thank you for being here and sharing the love or whatever. And
Yeah.
have a good evening, and then I'll speak to you when I speak to you.
Okay.
All the
Thank
best.
you, Billy.
Good luck.
Thank you. Problematic is a trigger for you. I know. That's why I said it. Oh, Emmanuel, you weren't here for the previous torture. While you're here, too bad Ranger isn't here. We could talk about that polyamorous love cocoon. That was the funniest thing I think I've ever heard. Ever. Where's that picture? Here it is. Manual? Still want a polyamorous love cocoon that shit? You're gonna have to fight Brandon for it. Oh. Wife. Yeah. Oh, she'll love it. Well, right. Maybe I'll do that outro video though that Billy made. Hey, Vega. Little late to the party. Yeah, this is a traditional conservative woman right here. Never mind that she's been pregnant thrice times out of wedlock. Never mind she wears a grill. Never mind she, she's got her, lots of skin showing. Never mind her sexually suggestive, language here. What, before my stream, I'm out here screwing with my drill. Ha ha ha. Yeah, never mind that. This is a traditional conservative woman. No, you're not, Alice. You're a fucking liar, is what you are. And for anybody to believe anything that comes out of your fucking mouth would make them retarded. So keep peddling this my sons aren't bastards because they have their heavenly father bullshit, you're really making a fucking fool out of yourself. And keep your kid offline. Quit emotionally abusing your kids. Yeah, she's seriously delusional. So, good to see you though, Vega. And I'll see you guys later. After I get some writing done, apparently. I don't know how long that's going to take, honestly. So. I might need to find somebody that enjoys writing. And just dictate all the things. All right, I'm going to play Billy's video. You guys have a good night, okay? Catch you later.
You international parents are doing it all wrong. Honey, look at what this person is saying about your daddy. Come here, honey. I need you to help me feel better. Come show these people how smug and proud I am of myself. Now, you remember what to say, don't you? Go on, tell them. You don't hate your daddy, do you? Do you? Say it.
No.
Your dad is awesome, right?
Yeah.
Damn right. What do we say to them trolls?
Ugly. Awesome. Pretty.
What else?
Pedophile.
And?
Lawsuit.
And who don't we call?
C. P. S.
That's right, because if they get involved, it's not going to be because of anything I've done, is it? And what do we call that?
Incest.
No. Blame shifting. I'm not abusing you, am I? I'm not twisting your arm, am I?
Yeah. No.
Why are you pissing on the floor? Blink twice if you need help. Oh, wait. You can't blink.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything.
brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many ones that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day ones turned into outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.